Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone tonight? How are you, neighbor?
I'm Peachy.
Peachy
Just
Keen.
yeah, trying to pull up my live here and share it out, but for some reason it doesn't want to come up. Let's try this. There we go. And I think I'm already buffering.
And the fish tank light just went off.
Yours?
So if I just got a little darker, that's why. So what have you been up to this week? Anything interesting?
You there, neighbor?
I'm here.
Okay, I just had to change my my internet.
Okay.
Let's see. Change top chat to live chat. Muffet, welcome. How are you?
Hello, Muppet. Welcome.
The man of the hour was already in here, and he's not here. He didn't show up to my StreamYard.
Hello, Dave. Welcome. How are you?
Dave
I'm sure
Farewell.
he'll be here in a few minutes. I think I saw him over
Yep, fish neighbor.
in another stream chatting, so maybe he just lost track of time and he'll be here momentarily.
I hope he shows.
It was an interesting stream, so I don't blame him.
I showed up in on Danny's 100 giveaway and actually gave away a couple bars of soap one.
Oh, did you?
Oh,
I missed
man.
it. I wasn't around to watch it, but I do want to see the replay. Hello, Kevin.
Hey, who's the man of the hour?
It should be a lunatic fringe.
Oh yeah.
Chewy.
Wait, isn't he in here?
Chewy's.
Yeah, you showed him
He
at
was here
7:33.
earlier,
Yeah, look.
but he should be popping in soon.
I hope he comes back.
Oh, Muppet's asking who won the soap she left early.
R&B.
Oh, Ricky?
And Ian Atkins. Well, one won it, and then the other one, I don't know, something happened, and we just gave away two.
Well, that's awesome.
They both won it, or they both of them guessed this right answer, but I think Bull Mama offered to give both of them.
Oh, that was very kind of you, Bull Mama.
If I'm not mistaken. How are you guys? How many people are in here? And how are you guys?
I'm great. There's 8 people in the house.
I'm good. I'm a little tired because I had physical therapy today, but
pushing
through it.
Looney Tunes.
I'm good. I'm a little tired because I had physical therapy today, but
Looney
Chewy.
Looney Tunes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
I am busy, but I'm okay. How is everybody today?
Good. Not too bad.
So,
all is well on the homestead.
What would you like to talk about?
See, that's the question of the next 2 hours, because you are literally a walking encyclopedia.
Yeah.
So what would we like to pick your brain about?
Okay.
Hello, Rico. Welcome. Hello, Craig.
So what would you like to start off with first? I would actually like to start off with hockey.
With hockey.
Yes.
Hockey.
Well, how about we start off and you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, okay. Well, that's sort of how it all
Chewy's
started.
origin story.
That's sort of how it all started for me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
He used to play hockey.
I used to play hockey.
He used to be He used to play
I
hockey.
played hockey before I had fish.
Yeah, but what do you mean that's what started it?
Well, I wanted to be a marine biologist hockey player.
Huh,
That's really
interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
Hello, Lori.
So I happen to be an Islander fan, by the way. So
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
get my digs here now.
you told me that a few weeks ago. I'm a
Yeah,
Flyers fan.
Well, I used to be a Leaf fan back when there was only 6 teams.
Gotcha.
But when the when Ballard was around from the Maple Leafs,
Okay.
he traded away the whole team.
Oh wow.
So we were upset as Leaf fans, and if you're from out west, it don't really matter. I would rather cheer for players that played in my town. At one time, there were 2 Broad Street Bullies on Philadelphia's team. Did you know that?
Yes.
Calgary.
Yes.
From Calgary.
Yeah.
The
There
Water
was,
brothers.
yes.
Yes.
Hello, Ricky.
Both of them played my position. Both were great defensemen. One was offensively gifted. The other one was sort of more like me, big and ugly and tough. Yeah.
Hello, Lee.
So when you are told that you cannot play hockey anymore, your life kind of changes.
Yeah.
And if you develop more than one brain injury, you cannot get your scuba. So life changes again.
Wait, what?
You cannot get your scuba.
If you have what?
If you've had brain injuries that cause seizures, you cannot get your scuba. You can't even fight for your own country.
Oh, that makes okay, got it. If you okay.
Okay?
Hello,
So
Chewy.
I'm one of those individuals that have had seizures and brain injuries ever since I was a little kid. So
Yeah.
my dreams got kind of snuffed out when I was 16 for hockey and 18 when I was in high school for marine biology. You can't get your ticket. Oh, so am I going to work for a wholesaler for the rest of my life? I don't think so. In the pet industry. So my job sort of got switched around right at school. My locker partner's brother was a guitar player in a very good band. And so he goes, "Hey, you want to go to the next high school dance? My brother's band is playing." Of course you are. You're like 18 years of age and you want to go and check it out, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I was more interested in the music than I was checking out the girls.
That's a mistake.
No, it wasn't.
Not necessarily.
Now the girls followed the music.
No,
Alan Matthews, welcome.
women
Captain Creek.
come and they may go. You know, it's sort of like the Fleetwood Mac song. They come, they go. It's all fine. But I got an opportunity to work with a recording artist right out of high school.
Oh wow.
That's really cool.
Like even during while I was in high school, he used to pick me up at the pet shop because I can't drive. Caesar, you can't drive either.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, we got to go pick him up. Where does he work? You know, having some future rock star come and pick you up at work.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like okay.
So you can play, huh?
Well, I'm not a real player. I'm like how would you say? I'm put in the position of learning guitar because of PTSD.
Okay.
So it's sort of like a subscribed repetitive thing so that my mind doesn't vault off into depression.
Won't wander. It
Yeah, like
doesn't
a
wander.
coping mechanism.
Yeah. So it's sort of like, oh, I get to play this over and over and over again. But I have a support group of professional musicians.
That is awesome. That really is awesome.
Oh, well, we're not going to teach you this, but you learn that on yourself because you're better at learning by yourself, but we'll give you the hints. That's how they teach me. That's how they teach me. And one of my favorite guitar players, can I promote him a little?
Sure.
Is from a country where I was going to be going to live at, but unfortunately a depressing thing occurred, a fire. He lives in around the Milan area, and he's like a God-gifted guitar player that plays with such feeling that it's unbelievable. And so when I was doing radio, like I used to interview rock stars and all that sort of stuff after my accident, I got to interview 3 or 4 really well-known guitar players about what would they say for me to concentrate on. And my actual teacher goes, scales. Okay, well, that's good for you if you want to be a lead guitar player. I want to have fun. I want to be like Paul Stanley. I don't have to worry about playing lead guitar. It's just having fun, right? So the best advice I got was from Tony Vitali from Italy. He says we got to play with feeling. And I think that it crosses over to everything in life. Fish keeping, music, general life. If you don't have a feeling for what you're doing, don't do it.
Did I freeze? Am I moving?
You want green screen for a minute.
Sorry.
So that is how I sort of became involved in a lot of things, is like a feeling.
Yeah.
Hello, Lee.
Now you can sort of go from that kind of background, and now we can continue.
And now we can pick your brain about it.
Yes, now you can pick my brain about anything.
Well, first, let's catch up with those who have joined us since. I believe Alan, Brian, hello. S, hello. Mismatched Socks, hello. Am I missing anyone? No, I think we're all caught up now. But hello, everyone. Thank you for coming in and joining us.
Did you say hi to Travis?
Did I miss Travis?
Mismatched Socks, hello.
Chalupa, no tomatoes?
Mr. Fish Gal. Chalupa,
I said chalupa.
No tomatoes.
Okay.
I wasn't aware Chalupa's name is Travis.
Hey, Geek Boy.
Geek Boy.
Hello, Geek Boy.
Hello, Miss
Also,
Lee.
Hey, Lee. Oh, now I have to get off of here. Lee's here.
How are you, Lee?
I'm good. I was listening to Looney Tunes, and I just wholeheartedly, with so much sympathy and empathy, appreciated everything that he just said. And I just wanted to come up and say hello to the dear fellow and ask, who are you in the fish family? because we all change our names all the time, and I can't keep up.
Chewy.
I am
Who
Chewy.
is Lunatic Fringe?
Sorry,
Chewy Lunatic Fringe.
Lunatic Fringe.
Oh, thank you.
Lunatic Fringe, is that you?
Yeah.
That is me.
Oh,
Chewy.
hello. Oh, we talk in the comments all the time.
You do.
Mhm.
Oh, my
Exactly.
Oh,
Holy.
I'm not going to
Chewy
muck
is everywhere
about.
and all knowing.
Not going to muck about. Just hearing your story there, how you portrayed it, and how honest and open you were, that really hit me in the chest. And I just wanted to come up and say hello, thank you. It takes great courage to speak out in the way that you just did, and I really admire you for doing that. And I just had to pop up and say hello. It's Lunatic Fringe.
Yes, it's me, Lunatic Fringe.
Oh, we always converse in the comments, don't we, mate?
Yes, we do.
We do. So, well done, you. Well done, you. I admire you.
Thank you.
No, thank you, because the way you interact and what you just said, and the way you speak to me in the comments on all the different channels, you have no idea how much you inspire me to be a little bit more open, because I always play the clown, and that's my defense.
Hey, that's sort of my role. That's my hidden role.
You're beautiful. You are beautiful.
I'm sort of like the fifth member of KISS. Like, my idea of my musical project, and we'll get this said and done now. Okay, I'm the clown compared to all of my musical friends. Like, they play circles around me. I'd just be happy playing campfire guitar with some of them.
Mhm.
You know, like some have been playing for 50 odd years. I've only been playing seriously maybe 7. And I don't have the skills that these guys have got. I know that. I watch their hands like a hawk. And I go, why can't my fingers move that fast? And then they go, well, it's repetitive and you have to keep on practicing. Okay, thank you. But I know the level of musician I am in comparison to my friends. But they also know me as a sound tech monitor guy that has been around them for about as long as they have been playing. And I'm good at my skill.
Skipper, that is Lunatic Fringe, aka Chewy.
Lunatic French, Kevin.
Don't keep on saying Lunatic.
I'm named after a song. I named my
Lunatic
channel
Fringe.
after a
Thank you,
song
Roxanne.
and my music project after a song done by a band called Red Rider featuring Tom Cochran
Mhm.
from the 80s. They used to play at a rehearsal hall where I used to work. They're like my older brothers. Like they're in the 70s category, you know, nowadays. And I worked with their keyboard player in a band called Stonebolt as well. And that light man that worked for that band ended up being from 1981 all the way to today. He's now U2's lighting director. So I get to see U2 whenever I want, whenever they're in town. Hey, are you coming out? Oh, okay. But I'm not the same. I can't lift gear anymore. Oh, you're still coming out though. Oh, okay. Thanks. So I got to see U2 twice with tickets of over $200. The first time I saw them, they were in the rehearsal hall and they never cost me anything.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like I got to see Jeff Beck, Sir Bob Geldof,
Jeff Beck.
and Jeff Beck, yes.
Roxy, I'm going to send you a tune. I haven't done one in a while. I'm going to send you a tune of Jeff Beck, and I'll try not to sing along to it, but I'll send you a tune.
Jeff
Okay,
Beck is
I'll
an
expect it.
amazing musician. He plays with his fingers like I do. I don't use a pick. I told my teachers I don't use a pick. I'm more like a folk kind of guy, right? So that's how I look at life, rhythm, folk, that kind of thing. But everybody pictures me as a metalhead, but my writing is more around country rock, if I was to make it.
What about Donovan? Nick Drake?
I've heard them. I've never seen them.
But the music, what do you think about the music? Because, you know, Jeff Beck and...
I'm a big Jeff Beck fan because of Jeff Beck. I'm not a big fan of
Okay.
the Yardbirds per se. I know that he played in the Yardbirds, but I was more into Cream back then. Like Eric Clapton, the original guitar player of the Yardbirds, or Jimmy Page, which we all know as Led Zeppelin.
Mhm.
So I was more influenced by those kind of people on the technical side of like rock and roll music. You know, like several of the bands that I worked for were like tributes to Led Zeppelin or the Scorpions, like in clubs. Like I patterned my sound to be like that at that time, but as I got older, I had more of an appreciation for sound like Pink Floyd.
What about Justin Bieber? Or is it just me? Is it just me?
Well, Justin has got his whereas,
Oh, hello, Ness and Maple.
whereas
Nathan.
I love Justin Bieber.
I'm
bet
more of
no.
a Britney Spears fan in a lot of ways for her time period. She was up at the top. Nowadays, it's Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
I don't understand Lady Gaga, though.
You don't understand her?
I
What about her don't you understand? Like
I
all
just
of her?
more the way she dresses.
Is she trans? Is Lady
She
Gaga
dresses.
trans?
She dresses how she wants to dress, man.
Exactly.
Before.
Dresses-
Yeah.
I have
Lady
no
Gaga's-
complaints
I
about
think
the
Lady Gaga's trans.
dresses.
Lee.
I've seen worse dressers by far. Whereas I'm more influenced by the goth scene behind Europe, especially female-fronted bands like Nightwish,
Mhm.
Thieves' Eyes, Within Temptation. You know, the closest thing that America has got to that is Evanescence.
Oh, what is Rico Stan saying? Oh, it didn't come up yet on StreamYard. There we go. Zeppelin's first gig was actually as the New Yardbirds before they got the name. I'm pretty sure it was Clapton who sort of named them. That'll go over like a lead balloon, right, Chewy?
No, it was not Clapton. It was Keith Moon of The Who. He went,
Chalupa, no tomatoes.
they
says
are
love
going to
language.
go over as well as a lead balloon, and it's not. And look at them now. They're in like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and bands like Heart and that pay tribute to them right in front of your president, President Gala. Probably the most touching show I ever saw was Heart playing with John Bonham's son on drums. And it was a very, very special moment for everybody in that audience and everybody in that TV audience. It still hits me. You know, they are the influence of the bands of the 80s and several bands after. There's bands today trying to copy them.
Oh God, and they're pathetic. Oh, it's pathetic.
That's how it seems to be with music, though. Like, there's one.
And they're just regurgitating brilliance and doing it so poorly. It's insulting. I hear new bands doing covers of songs that were epic in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they're just pitiful. It's like a money pot. They've got a nice voice, they look pretty, they dance a bit, they regurgitate classic.
I call it the McDonaldization of the music industry.
The McDonaldization.
Yes. Talk it up and sell it by the millions.
Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it. I 100% agree with you. It is an insult.
I saw it at the end of the 80s. I saw really good bands like Aerosmith, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin break into like the late 70s, early 80s. By the end of it, we had Poison.
Rico Stan said, I like Greta Van Fleet, though. I agree, but Greta Van Fleet is a very good band.
Greta Van Fleet is a good Led Zeppelin type of band.
Yeah.
Very
Incredible.
good. Very good band. So was another band. I can't think of their name right now. Their bass player played with King Diamond. I can't think of the band's name. But, you know, Europe has got this, you know, like rap and country really didn't hit Europe the way that it is in America. The music that grew rock and roll and rhythm is the blues, which is American based, going back to the 40s and earlier. The guys that the Stones and everybody would listen to would be the old black artists from the Mississippi River area and Chicago. That is basically what influenced rock and roll. You look back at Elvis Presley, it was all like black music. They used to, you know, do political things back then that would be nothing in today's world, such as burning albums. You know, how many people burned their Beatles albums? Just because of the quote by John Lennon, "We're bigger than Christ."
I remember seeing the videos of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you go through the Marilyn Manson era, and all that he is another Alice Cooper that makes fun out of religion, and then everybody that's into religion hates him. Well, that drives a public too. Good press and bad press work exactly the same way.
Really?
Would it be alright if I left now? It was a really nice moment and everything, and I just wanted to come up and say hello, because I really
Yeah, you're
appreciate
free to leave.
it.
We can't
Can I
hold
leave
you
with the
hostage.
jokes? Can I leave on a joke? 'Cause something just popped into my head, and I think I'd leave on a joke. Tom, is it all right if I leave on a joke? No swearing, I promise.
If it's
That's up to
appropriate.
Swampy.
It's,
Yes.
It would never be appropriate, but is it all right if I leave? No swearing, no rude words or anything. I promise.
all right, go for it.
Tom,
Yeah.
I saw your mum coming out of the STD clinic, and I said to Kev's dad, leave her alone, mate.
Okay.
Never disappoints.
And then he laughed.
Never disappoints.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk fish.
You have
Yes,
fish.
let's talk fish.
Yeah, let's talk fish.
All right, let's talk fish.
Do you have fish currently?
No.
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 2 years ago, I could not walk up the mountain where I lived.
You
Mhm.
said
Eat my fish there.
you said you moved too much, right?
Yes. Yes, especially what has happened to me in my lifetime. Like, reason why I got out of the music industry as a drunk driver, hit the public transit that I was on. I have a very bad injured spine that has basically put me in a wheelchair. I had a bad knee from playing hockey that gave out, and so I broke my left hip. So my active days, when you basically live your life sort of like in a wheelchair, you can't keep fishing.
It's very, very difficult. I can relate. I was
Yes.
there for a while, so I'm still
Yes.
recovering.
Yes.
It's still
so,
difficult, but from a chair, it's almost impossible. I get that.
Yeah. So, especially at the level that I would want to keep fishing,
Hmm.
I gave up on like about 12 tanks. I said, no, you can keep the fish. I just can't climb up the mountain.
Yeah. What kind of fish were you keeping when you were keeping fish?
Well, shall we sort of begin at the beginning and go to the end?
Sure.
My,
Timeline style, like that.
my first fish that I ever kept was my favorite fish that I've studied for hundreds of years, it seems. That is the guppy.
The guppy.
The guppy.
Yes.
Well, I knew about the IFGA. My first guppies were actually a round tail that you would only find in Europe, and it was like a half black, yellow one, a round tail. But it would never be able to compete in an IFGA show. So I'm going, well, I want to get an IFGA guppy string. One of my bosses, Brian Newman, was the pet shop owner that I worked for, and he was the first treasurer of the American Live Bearers Association. So he's going, you're going to need some really good strains if you want to compete and you want to know something about guppies. Well, I got the IFGA half black reds from an old breeder. This is before Stan Schugel. The guy's name is Louis Wasserman. And he wrote books on the topic. So I'm going, okay, would you suggest getting guppies through him? And he goes, of course. So my first IFGA strain was half black red. I still remember that line very, very well. And many people go, well, it's important to maintain a line. When I got back into guppies after being on the road to rock, which is impossible to keep fish, it gets very, very expensive having an aquarium maintenance company come out to where you live when you're on the road and your roommate's on the road to come in and go through a security system and make sure that your fish are okay. Like
Yeah.
security checks are high level when you live with a rock star. Like you cannot have every Tom, Dick, and Harry inside of a mansion on the north of Vancouver, the north end of Vancouver. It's impossible. So you have to hire a maintenance company, and 9 months straight, it gets really, really expensive. I could handle it for a month, but being away from home for 9 months, no, got really expensive. So I gave it up, but I began volunteering at zoos and aquariums throughout Canada and the USA because I was a member of CASA.
Well, that's cool. Although you didn't have time to keep your own, you still found a way to stay in it, which is very
I
admirable.
would always find a way to see fish.
Yeah.
I still do. I sit at home and watch videos of fish
Hmm.
before I watch hockey. But
So
that's
those are your ultimate two loves there, fish and hockey.
exactly. So that was the me growing up. So both of those are ingrained into me. Okay. So I went through the guppy thing, and then I got into the cichlid thing
Guppies
in
straight into cichlids.
major ways. I was breeding angelfish. I was breeding jack dempseys. I was breeding fire mouse. I bred rainbow cichlids. I bred crebenses. And then we get this shipment out of a country called Nyasa. Do you know where that is?
What was the country? I'm sorry.
The country's name is Nyasa.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why does that sound so familiar? I
It's
don't know
now
where it is,
called
but
Malawi. The country
Malawi.
is now called Malawi. So once Rift Valley cichlids hit, everybody wanted them. And our water in Calgary was perfect for it. All it needed was like about 5 times the amount of sodium, and we could be Lake Malawi. The rest of the water parameters were like pretty much dead on. There's an
Yeah.
article in the Calgary Aquarium Society dealing with how close our water is to Lake Malawi and Lake Tanganyika and Lake Victoria. So, of course, everybody got on that kind of fish keeping. But if you're the first one on board, you can put yourself through college or whatever you wanted to do through school. I would breed for the wholesaler that I worked for. Hey, can I buy some bucks? You know, like I need some book money. You know, oh okay. So I got onto the cichlid thing, and that's how come I know about mouth brooding fish and which ones are most likely to be predators on their own fry. Tilapias generally are good mothers.
Yeah, very. Like I was surprised off the information that you shared with me. You shared that series of videos with me, and I watched it, and that's what made me leave the mama in with the babies.
Yeah, I said she's got to learn somehow to be a mama. She's the mouth brooder.
Mm-hmm.
Disrupt a mouth brooder, she might not want to be so willing the next time.
I hear you.
You might not be she might not be willing the next time. You know, as a parent. right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Angelfish, they are a little bit more trickier than a lot. My silvers would raise their own in a 55-gallon tank. All they needed was a school of tetras for them to chase away and make them feel brave to look after their kids. Whereas my marbles, I had to artificially hatch every time.
Every time.
Every time.
And what
It
was your
was the
process to
worst.
hatch them?
Methylene blue inside of a jar with an air stone and slowly letting the air out so that there's bubbles and not enough to be a vigorous current, but enough to sort of like pretend that the angelfish parents are waving the water around their eggs.
Yeah.
So that's how I had to do it. It was a severe learning curve. But while I was doing that, it was around that time that I joined the American Library Association.
Okay.
And I got mentored by a very important woman who was the founder of the American Library Association and wrote a whole bunch of articles on angelfish. And she loved my silver angelfish. Like they were big, big male angelfish. Like the angelfish that you see now today are a lot more smaller than the angelfish that were around in the 60s. Whether that has got to do with how they are being bred or raised or the genetics, who knows?
Hmm.
But they
Yeah.
used to attain a bigger size.
Yeah, I've noticed that from like um documentaries from years ago. They'd be a lot larger, and then I was looking at them more recently, and I didn't understand why the adults of today are so much smaller unless it's like an evolutionary trend.
I think
It's
that it's got to do with the genetics that we as a population put into the fish. Plus, I think that it might have to do with water parameters as well.
yeah, true.
Angelfish are basically more from softer water environments than North America,
Hmm.
but they have adapted quite well to spawn up to like about 8 pH.
Really, that high?
Yes, that is Calgary water. And so what I would do is I would add distilled water to my angelfish tank because
Hmm.
my mentor, my other mentor, who was one of the original presidents of the Calgary Aquarium Society, Brett, is one of those guys like me with the master breeders. So I had a very, very good teacher teaching me about the rainforest.
That's awesome.
Like he made sure that I knew how to look after cardinal tetras before he would even give me some of his biscuits from his own spawn.
Hmm.
Because he went, I'm not gonna give them to you to have you kill them. You can go and kill up some cardinal tetras. And ever since I thought of that, I thought of the canary in the mine.
Yeah.
So that to me, the cardinal tetra to me is the canary of the aquarium world. It
I
teaches
can
you
see that
all
too.
about soft water. It doesn't spawn until it drops to 4.7 pH. Something that you
Wow.
don't see in books.
Yeah, that's super, super low.
Yes. Well, think about it. You're in South America, you're in the
Hmm.
Rio Negro, and you got all of this lush plant life around you.
All those tannic waters, yeah.
Yes, all of those leaves falling into the water. and hardly any minerals around there. Not around the Rio Negro. Like there's hardly any rocks. So where are the minerals coming from? As long as you got the minerals for the plants to grow, the fish are fine. Hello?
We're here.
Yeah.
Where'd everyone? Is everyone else frozen? No, they're
No.
fine. Okay. But no, that the using you're not the first person that I've heard saying using the cardinal tetras as the canaries in a coal mine, because they're such sensitive fish. Um, like some people will do their water changes based on if their cardinal tetras are acting a little finicky. I don't agree with that, but it's good if you're busy, I guess, to have
Let's
a
just
canary.
say the cardinal tetra, okay? Let's compare waterways here. The Rift Valley is full of hard water. It's full of uh, sodium. Like it's got 5 times the amount of sodium than Calgary water does. So it's pretty salty. All of your salt mines are over there in East Africa in the Rift Valley. There's no vegetation or very, very little, and that's what controls the hippo. Because if they get loose in a rainforest area such as Colombia, they breed 3 times faster because there's nothing that keeps them in check. At least drought in that part of Africa does play a role in the the ecosystem. Whereas when they were introduced in Colombia, it's a big problem. You know how they got into Colombia, right?
Through the aquarium trade.
No, drug industry, the hippos. The
Really?
guy had his own private zoo.
Really?
Really?
There's articles on it on the internet.
Hmm.
Yeah, invasive hippos. Well, that was
I need to know that story.
yeah. Hungry hippos. They don't need to be hungry. They've got all the food they can eat, and then they breed more.
I never heard of hippos being invasive. That's an animal that you do not want to be invasive.
That's
They
right.
will ruin your day.
That's right. I'm surprised they don't have them in Florida.
I know, right? Florida has everything they're not supposed to.
Except for hippos.
Yes,
That is so true.
Yeah, yeah. But so when you're comparing that kind of waterway to the waterway of the Rio Negro,
Mhm.
where you're lucky to see it go up to 7 pH.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and that's in the flood time. In the dry season, think of what tea does when all of the tea evaporates out of your cup.
Yeah, when it's all super concentrated and how
Yeah.
low the acidity must dip.
Yes, it
floods
goes
come
down
through
to
it.
like 4 pH, and meanwhile, that's when they go out and catch them. So you're
Yeah.
being sent fish to Calgary, which is like part of the Rift Valley of Africa, may I say, and you're trying to adapt those to 8 pH. How many do you think are like murdered because of it?
Most of them.
Exactly.
Most of them.
Yes. And so that is why my mentor, Herb Williams, the guy who started Aquatic Imports, his son ran it for a while and then he sold it. The business is still going.
Mm.
That is the best thing that I was ever taught. But I had to be there like 24 hours for that first day of shipment, adjusting fish
Mm-hmm.
up to like 6 pH and making sure not to overdose them with salt. Cardinal peppers do not like salt, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't like methylene blue or noxic either. And rather than throwing a chemical, we threw a natural mineral. That was our first procedure. It took 6 weeks to basically quarantine each shipment from South America.
I can believe
Wow.
that because I know that it takes 12 weeks for true acclimation. So
Yep.
6 weeks, you're probably like just at the curve of where the majority of them are stopping dying off and you're starting to stabilize the healthy fish you have left.
And you're lucky to get above 30%.
Yeah, lucky. Lucky.
Lucky.
That's a blessing to get 30%.
From 4 to 6, they're rather okay. You're only losing the ones that have got severe types of health issues, like uh, internal parasites and all of that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
But you don't
Not
want
really.
to be hitting everything with the kitchen sink. You want to have the time to watch the fish, see what the fish can do.
Yeah.
Especially if you're getting them from somebody that you know has quarantined the fish before you.
Hmm.
Out of the wild, it takes a little bit longer than it does direct from a fish farm or from a breeder. Like it's the one thing where I go, the pop and drop kind of thing is kind of okay around the United States. But if you're getting a shipment of fish direct out of 4 pH water of the Rio Negro, I do not recommend
Yeah,
plopping.
that's a good way to make sure you have no more fish after you plop and drop.
Exactly. Exactly. And I learned that cardinals don't last long in a 2.2 pH in our water chemistry. I learned that
The hard way.
the hard way. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, you're doing it wrong. This is how you do it. Oh, okay. Thank you. Well,
Chewy
all you
Nathan.
have to do is be taught.
Yeah.
Like this is part of like the water chemistry that you would learn when you go off to a college program for you to become a professional aquarist.
Hmm.
I've had that advantage from working in a wholesaler. It gives me a little bit of hey, he can volunteer and he can work in my area because he understands that. Okay, you know. So everything in the aquarium hobby, like the greatest thing that ever occurred in the aquarium hobby was the reverse osmosis unit.
Oh yes. The
Like
RO systems, reverse
the
osmosis,
RO
yes.
system, it saves you
Oh,
a trip to the drugstore for distilled water. Do you think that it rains in Calgary? No, no. Well, it does, but it does in like a rainforest.
Yeah, not so much.
So if you've got to gather so much water, like let's put it into a situation of taking in a shipment with about 50 tanks that you're preparing.
Hmm.
Distilled water gets quite expensive.
Yeah, it'll add it quick.
Yeah. Whereas
Especially if
I
you
only
have
have to go down to the store, the drugstore, and I'm keeping cardinal tetras in a 10-gallon tank
mm,
and just picking up a few gallons. not a few thousand.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, can you imagine having to do that if you had multi-tank syndrome? Oh my goodness. Then you just invest in your own RO system.
Well, the thing was when I got back into it, I did get into discus and zebra plecos. And
Mhm.
as part of my deal, like I bred Julidochromis, okay, and I kept my pet store supplied with Julidochromis. And so he goes, "Well, what kind of fish can I get you interested in?" And I went, "You can get me interested in those zebra plecos." That time it was like $35 a fish.
35.
Now they're like
Yeah.
$100 an inch.
I was gonna say, like, that would have been awesome if they were still that much, but also, how long ago was that?
That was in the 90s. I have my
Oh,
answer.
so not even that too long ago.
No, I got back into it in the 90s, and then I had a fire.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I had
Um,
discus, I had goody ads, I had various different types of placos. I had fish that would live with plants. When I was a kid, I did not care too much about, well, these fish are going to uproot every plant in my tank because of cichlid behavior. But
yeah.
there is ways around certain cichlid behavior too.
Mhm.
Like I used to plant Valsneria into gardening trays and have bigger rocks around the gravel or the substrate that I was using, basically sand,
Mhm.
right? And I also have big haps. You've got to take into consider that.
Mhm.
Haps and Mbunas, the big haps scare the little Mbunas out of the Valsneria beds. That's where they hang out in Malawi. The Malawian eye biter is notorious for hiding out in Valsneria beds, looking for prey.
Um, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to jump off here. I need to use powder room, and then I'm gonna start up my live stream so we could switch over to there. So I'll see you guys over there in a couple minutes.
Sure.
All right, see you guys there.
So Chewy asked you a question earlier. He said, "You got any friends here in Australia with some spiny crayfish for sale?"
The yabbies and basically all of the lobster and crayfish species are basically banned in Canada. They are an infestation on our world, shall we say, especially out east. Out west, we have got mysis shrimp and pike and walleye as invasive species. But we also have got the Banff Hot Springs, which has got a lot of tropical fish in it, and it's on national ground. It's a national park. And the only endemic fish went extinct in around 1900, so way before I was born. It was called the Banff Long Nose Days.
See, I want to get some, but I don't know if they're legal in my state.
What, daces?
Yabbies.
Yeah, well, our dace is extinct, but daces generally are around every state on the east coast that I know of. I'm more of a shiner kind of guy. I like the fiery black shiner or fiery back shiner. It is a beautiful fish. But we're not allowed to keep natives in Canada except for Ontario.
Now it's your turn.
Looks like we got. It's time to switch over to Foxie's. We're gonna drop Foxie's link here, and
Awesome. Thank you, Tom.
that's Swampy's right there. I mean, Foxy's. Sorry. Hey.